Welcome, everyone. I am Anasuya Strasner with Oracle. We are hearing from retail customers that really having the right retail technology in place is fundamental to any innovation transformation strategy. And Oracle has a continued focus on enabling our customers in retail to have the ability to be resilient, innovate, be agile, scalable, have the right security, and really more than anything, take advantage of the acceleration of technology transformations that are occurring in retail. There is so much going on under the umbrella of retail, and we're really excited to talk to you about that today. So today I'm joined by Jim Kelly, who is our Group Vice President for Retail Industry Cloud and Analytics. So thank you, Jim, for joining us today. It's awesome to have you here. Maybe you can describe, Jim, just a little bit about your background and role, and then we can jump into the conversation.
Sure, great. Thank you, Anasuya. Yeah, as you said, Group Vice President of our Retail Industries Cloud and Analytics business. Have the pleasure of working with retailers and consumer packaged good manufacturers and food and distribution companies really in their cloud journey. No surprise to anyone that it's happening. And we have as I said, the pleasure of working with those clients who are early in that journey, and we help them develop a strategy and understand their advantages, a business-driven advantage to migrating their applications or going to a SaaS strategy, or frankly, leaving stuff on-prem or moving to a colo, that type of thing, but developing that strategy. And then those customers that have been at it for a while, right? And they're revisiting that strategy and they're looking at pinch points and optimization opportunities. And Oracle has a portfolio that we'll talk about today that really helps the clients ultimately deliver business value, because that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of value to be delivered right now. Okay, the industry has undergone some crazy, massive changes over the last 18 months. And I think that one would agree probably that it's accelerated the need to really take advantage of some of the incredible technology that we're seeing today, even as a layperson, whether it's around the influencers and the bloggers and be able to click on an influencer's Instagram and purchase something immediately from their site, to a number of different possibilities. So can you share a little bit about what are some of the priorities that you're seeing your retail customers really want to take advantage of from a technology perspective? What's going on there?
Yeah, it's crazy right now. Obviously, entering into the holiday season, it's always crazy. Every year is crazy. But with the dynamic of the change in the business because of the pandemic, it's different than last year where we were in the pandemic and we were dealing with it for the first time. Now we're kind of, knock on wood, outside of the pandemic. It's less crazy. We're back to shopping behaviors that we had prior to the pandemic, but things have changed. And it's probably not going back to the way it was prior to the pandemic. So retailers are really trying to be flexible. They're trying to be resilient, much more than they were prior. So as you step back, and this is where, I guess I'll outline, Oracle has a massive advantage in the marketplace, in a very unique position, in that there are companies that sell, SaaS applications for retail. There's companies that sell database. There's companies that sell, advanced analytics. Oracle has the advantage that we provide kind of this womb to tomb, everything that a retailer needs to have to become optimized. So that is the retail specific applications of merchandising, supply chain, and customer analytics. And it is the ERP systems of HR and financials. And it's the whole analytics stack. And of course, where'd we come from? It's the database and autonomous and things like that. So I say that's an advantage because all of those great technologies now run on a common cloud, or Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. All of those technologies share the same Oracle database, and it gives the retailer, every retailer is different and their needs are different and their business models are different, but it gives those retailers the ability to utilize those Oracle assets and build those Oracle assets to get back to what I said before, flexibility and resiliency, to react, and we just talked about the holiday season, but react to the changes in the customer behavior, in the business model that the pandemic has led us into.
Yeah, no, and it's amazing. When I was looking at before our conversation some of the retail predictions, And I'm not going to make you go through some retail predictions right now, but what, like ideas like, for example, curbside pickup, right? I think the delivery of everything at any instance, whether it's, from Instacart to, shipped, we have an expectation that's materially changed than it was, maybe 2 years ago. And so it's really exciting to see the adoption of some of these things that we might have considered sort of next generation ideas from a retail perspective. So, even jumping to that, we're seeing some of the what we might have perceived as traditional industry boundaries and silos kind of dissolve. Like, where does retail stop and wholesale distribution begin? And this whole speed of delivery and delivery of everything has changed maybe our mentality of what we might think of like a Costco or some sort of wholesale delivery to a retail pit stop. So, can you give us a sense of how do some of our solutions help customers get ahead of those changes and that sort of blurring of boundaries?
Absolutely. And, it's evolving in the industry. So you mentioned curbside, right? So think about the way that we can shop and think about the retailer's challenge to understand the different ways that their customer likes to shop. Who are those customers? How significant are they to the business? How profitable are they to the business? What do they prefer? So we can still go into stores, right? A lot of us still like to do that. We can, of course, order online. 3 or 4 years ago, it was fine to order online and get it in 2 or 3 days. Now we demand it next day. We can buy online and pick it up in the store, actually go in the store and pick it up. We can buy online and drive up to the curbside lot now and stay in our car and have someone deliver it to us. We can actually have it dropped off in a locker. And there's these things flying around in the air that are going to start delivering packages to us as well. So if you think about all that change, what the retailers are focused on is what does the consumer want? So we have a customer experience set of applications that really analyzes and segments the consumer, because that's critical, right? You might say, well, we got to do curbside, right? And however, what the retailers' analytics and our solutions will tell them, the types of retail or the types of customers that do curbside aren't actually your most profitable customers. And they actually their basket size is only 5 items when they do curbside. However, when you get them to buy online and pick up in store, their basket size is 4, but they continue to shop. So they buy 2 more on average. Their margin of that basket goes up by 33%. So my point is, it's not all what meets the eye, if you will. It takes that detailed understanding of your customer through our applications. It also takes the core applications of retail to understand the buying, the assortment, the inventory placement based on those behaviors. And that's what I'm saying Oracle is unique, because that's a great example of our customer experience applications, the core application and applications tying into our retail management applications. And you might say, oh, that's easy. Well, different databases, different cloud platforms, et cetera. You get all that with retail. So, that's the evolving consumer behavior. And then back to your point about the blending of the consumer and the blending of retail, and really what it takes to optimize that opportunity. The thing that comes to mind is a great case study by Chipotle. And this is we're going to show you a quick video of this story, but it's a great example of, because of the pandemic, they were actually evolving their customer intimacy and customer retention strategy. The pandemic got it on fire. And this story kind of talks about and really brings to light not only the retailer and their connection with the consumer, but the impact on the supplier and the whole food chain as well.
We have this overriding principle that we call food with integrity. We're trying to do what's right for the environment, what's right for the animal, what's right for the people.
One great thing about Chipotle is we're founded on the belief that there's a connection with how food is raised and prepared and how it tastes. So I truly believe that a burrito can change the world.
Our transformation began with the idea that to truly change the world and have the impact, we needed to provide more access to our food. That access also provides a greater market.
Delivering that quality at scale is incredibly difficult. The Chipotle system is incredibly complex. We have a network of more than 18 distribution centers. We have thousands of suppliers.
Chipotle is a public company and we have quick reporting deadlines.
With Oracle, we found tremendous alignment kind of from the beginning in terms of our mission to cultivate a better world.
We need to make sure that people have the ability to do their jobs with the most efficient use of resources.
In order to make decisions, you need data, right? And your data needs to be accurate. Oracle Cloud allowed us to automate the close process. We were relying on our delivery partners, but now we had real data and we're able to reconcile. The forecast used to take weeks to get done, and now we can get it done in a day.
Chipotle, Oracle, and PwC are all very intentional about the way the world's changing. We've got the ability to create the culture in the companies that we serve.
Because of the complexity of the world that we live in today, it is impossible to manage without the right technology.
I love the idea of how humans and machines can work together to make the world a better place.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Jim. Just great opportunity to see sort of holistically a customer have an example of some of the items that you've talked about. And, I think one of the things that I just want to like asterisk and highlight is, it's so tempting to think, okay, curbside pickup or whatever that next innovation is. And I think the key is, like you mentioned, is helping customers understand what the impact of some of those changes are and make sure that that impact is intentional. And we're still capturing across that whole value chain all the dollar elements of what a customer, for example, or a consumer might be able to do. So really interesting to make sure we're looking at that whole picture versus just like a net new innovation without unintended consequences. So, I am gonna come back to this whole like prediction topic, whether it's curbside pickup or some other prediction. What do you think some of the next breakthroughs are going to be in retail? I don't yet hear the drone outside of my door delivering a package, but I agree it probably could be, as soon as tomorrow. Can you give us a sense of what you think the next breakthrough might be and how we're helping customers prepare for that next breakthrough and support them?
Yeah, I think the breakthroughs are really unique on the specific retailer and their individual retail segment. We all kind of throw retailers into one big bucket, but a grocery retailer obviously is very different than a department store, and their challenges are very different. The opportunity to innovate, and you brought up machine learning and advanced analytics. The opportunity, those are technologies, right? And so what we need to do, what we do with our customers is really apply those technologies to a specific business problem. And we talk about optimization of these business processes. One great example that's very relevant is pricing. And so within our retail analytics and retail merchandising solution, we have a pricing optimization solution. And one might think, how much can you really optimize pricing? Well, if you think about it, you've probably shopped retailers that during a season, it's very easy to predict. They go 20% off something, then they go 40% off something, then they go 55% off something. And it's usually on a regular calendar. And you might think, okay, well, that's great. I've learned this behavior from my retailer. I'm going to wait till it's 55% off. I might go in, but I'm not going to, if there's a bunch of them, I'm not going to buy it at 20. I'm not going to buy it at 40. I'm going to buy it at 50. And so the message there is, boy, how do we optimize that? Well, you optimize that through machine learning and artificial intelligence and data science that's embedded in our analytics stack. And in this case, in this pre-built pricing optimization. And so no surprise, the price will change in different locations in different stores at different at times based on your sales. It's not revolutionary, but when you got thousands of stores and thousands of items and not as many merchants making those changes, it makes great sense. But it's not just a code it and let it run. It looks at it daily, and it looks at what is your sell through, what are your margins, and how can you optimize that. So That's a simple example. And there's other examples around, out of stock and inventory optimization. The biggest asset that a retailer has is their inventory, right? It's the largest cost on their P&L, besides their real estate and their employees typically. But in my point there is same thing. The ability for Oracle to leverage our systems that run the business. We own that data because we're running the business. We're allocating those goods. We know we have that data in our systems, and augment it. I worked with a grocery store. We have a customer, largest grocery store, and they wanted to do us. They had a very strategic out of stock situation. And we have our hands on that data. You apply machine learning and artificial intelligence to that. And again, it's not rocket science, but you allocate inventory based on sell-through, pricing, margin, customer behavior and demands and things like that. And you start eliminating out of stocks by 5-10%. That's millions and millions of dollars to these retailers. So that's a couple examples of applying that technology to augment these core solutions that run the business. But then shoppers start shopping, and you can have the best plans, but then you need to optimize in season, in real time. And that's what our solution and our database and our cloud technology allows you to do in real time.
Yeah, no, these are awesome examples, because I don't know that it translates as much when you say, for example, okay, like just-in-time promotions and pricing. Like, what does that mean? It means I'm like in a grocery store or shopping at Nordstrom or wherever I am. And in that moment, based on analytics about that moment in time, that geographic location, me as a consumer, there's the ability to optimize that just-in-time promotion. And it's like the data and the analytics and the technology support around that is incredible. And to be able to holistically look at that is something that Oracle can provide. And so, and then that, asset light models, how do you have a supply chain that manages the inventory for that type of experience is a whole nother dynamic of it. So you talked a little bit about AI and ML and that role of artificial intelligence and augmented reality at a high level. Is there anything specific you could double click on as it relates to AI and ML and how they fit into our retail portfolio?
Well, they're embedded. I mean, and so it's inherent in these. And the nice thing is I've worked with a lot of retailers who have built legacy systems, either themselves or by another vendor, and it's not in there. And so the onus is on them to build these things. So the quick answer is the optimization and the AI and the machine learning, and let's just put it in this data science bucket, it is embedded into our core applications. And that's awesome. So pricing was the example. We have a pricing optimization solution. So you don't have to be a rocket science or a data scientist to apply this to your business. That's an Oracle advantage. The other Oracle advantage, however, though, is you might want to augment that. You might want to really understand that to the next level with your customer segmentation on our customer experience applications that I mentioned before. Here's something that's very unique that we work with retailers on is you might not want to promote to some of those buyers because they are the lower margin. You might have a strategic imperative at your company across the board to gain wallet share, but you only want to gain wallet share to those consumers that are most profitable or that fit your niche that you're applying to the growth to. So it's in the detail, it's in the data, but again, I keep saying the core applications that we provide and the augmentation of those applications based on the unique strategic imperatives that are because they're always running new strategies and new capabilities, every season, every month, they're trying new things. And the ability to get your hands on that data in a secure, high performant, low cost, flexible manner makes all the difference in the world. I've had so many requests and worked with so many retailers where the executives come up with a new strategy, they request information or the ability to optimize. It takes IT so long to be able to put that together. They come back in a couple of months and the business reason is gone. The executives forget why they asked, literally. So retail is about detail and it's about speed.
So I'll just do a speed lightning round last question. We have a lot of customers in retail that have a traditional technology environment, they have a legacy environment, and then they also want to do these net new things, whether it's asset light, just-in-time promotion, curbside pickup, etc. how are we co-innovating with our retail customers to enable them to connect their legacy environments with some of these net new innovative approaches? Can you touch on that just real briefly?
Yeah, inherently our applications were built that way. So our core applications, we're working with retailers to add those capabilities into our core kind of out of the box applications. So that's one way. But then I also mentioned the ability to augment that with our, we've got a full stack from the database at the lowest level to the user interface to the middle to data integration to get our hands on that critical data. So we work with our retailers depending on their strategic business imperative. I was with a CIO yesterday, and they have a very strategic new in-store digital environment that they want to deploy. We happen to have all the data in our Oracle systems. The retailer does not have it in place today. So we enable that to, very quickly support that initiative. Again, it sounds simple, but it's not when it's disparate data all over the place in different systems, and you can't pull it together on a common cloud platform with a common database to really get at it and analyze it and slice and dice it the way that you need.
Well, it's awesome to chat with you, Jim. And, we talk about this 360-degree view of the customer. I think you've given us some insight about the 360-degree view of how Oracle can support our customers. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what's next with Oracle and retail. And thanks for the time today.
Thank you very much.